Hello everybody, Mark here. Now today I'm going to be having a cheap pasta dish. There you go. It involves 12% fat beef mince. There we are. Cost £2.60. Got it down to 65 pence. I don't know whether you can see that. So that's you know, around the £2 off. 65b from 260. So what I've done is what I do when I buy these, I cut them in half, because if you try and chop this while it's frozen, it just can't be done. So it's best to cut this in half, then freeze it, and then when it's time, take it out of the freezer, or take the piece that you want out of the freezer, and then let it defrost. There you go. So that's half of that. That's the the mince. Got the pasta. There we go. This pasta weighs 200 grams. There you go. I always use the same cup when I'm measuring. I've mentioned this before. It's a big teacup, a half a pint teacup here. I always use the same cup to measure the pasta, so I always know I'm getting exactly the same every time. 200 grams. Now, I tried to get pepperami to chop up and put in the pasta, but I couldn't. Of course, the day that I want it, I bloody well run out of it, right? So what I did, I went for the next best thing, mattessons smoked pork sausage. There we go. So and it actually says on it, it's delicious in pasta, stir fries and wraps, which is good because I've been making all three of those recently. There you go. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to cut this in half and do something else tomorrow with the other half. So there you go. So it'll be beef and pork in the beef and pork pasta. There we are. I've been cutting up this sausage. This is half of the mattessons sausage. And yeah, this is half the sausage. I'm going to use the other half tomorrow. I figure I'm going to use it in a stir fry or something. I don't know, but I'll figure something. There you go. So I've just cut it up into lots of thin slices, and eventually throw this in with a mix. So it'll be a 2-meat pasta. Now I'm going to show you what I've done so far, but before I do that, let me just do a quick shout out to somebody. The other day I did a chicken Kiev, which I cooked in the air fryer, cut it in half into two, and put half of it in a bun with some bacon and some cheese. It was a round bap. It was called chicken Kiev with bacon and cheese sandwich. Now Andrew Goring, a quick shout out for him. Now it took me a moment to figure this out. He calls it the Kiev, or the Kiev bacon striker. Now I'm thinking that might be a spin on the word like Kevin Bacon, Kiev Bacon. Perhaps, I don't know. But, you know, the Kiev Bacon Striker. So thank you to Andrew Goring. And, right, let's show you what I've been doing so far. Okay, I've brought the water to the boil, which I've been in there on the computer sorting out some replies and stuff. So I'm a little bit not where I should be. So I've turned the water off. I've got the mince on. Now what I'm going to do is brown the mince over. As you can see, it's a pink or a red. Going to heat this till it's like brown. Throw in the sauce. Throw in that extra sausage, and then we'll work on the pasta. Actually, I should have brought the clock in to show you how long this takes. But this is going to take about you know, a little bit over 5 minutes to brown off the meat. Now what I've decided to do, you saw me cut this up into little coin shaped pieces. I've decided to cut them up even further, you know, so I get that way I get twice as many pieces of sausage, and also it's easier to, when I scoop up the pasta, because I'm holding the bowl with one hand, spoon in the other, I can get sauce, ground meat, sausage and pasta all on the same spoon, which would be easier if they're in smaller pieces like this. So there you go. It's just a way of making the meat go a bit further. You cut it in half, make it go to, you know, twice as many pieces. Now the meat is pretty well browned off. The pasta goes in. Put the lid back on there. Now that I'm going to bring that back to the boil, and then once it does that, turn it down. The meat, I didn't show it to you, but what I did, I tilted the pan, scooped out some, there wasn't a whole lot of fat in there, so I put it in the jug anyway. Wasn't a lot going on. Now, next thing is I'm going to put in the sauce. Now, as you know, this is the name brand. I only buy this when it's on special. I wrote on it there, £1. Otherwise, when if it's not on special, I don't really buy it because yeah, I prefer it when, you know, for £1 it's worth a go. I pick up several jars. Anyway, going to put that in there. Going to let that simmer for about, well, for as long as the pasta takes. Okay, the pasta is on 9 out of 12, letting that simmer. The meat and the sauce is on 6 out of 12, just going to let that bubble away. Now I'm going to put on the slices of meat, in this case sausage. I've done pasta dishes before where I've used, I've thrown in bits of sausage, regular sausage, bits of chicken, bits of pork chop, bits of all kinds of stuff. It doesn't really matter, you can just put any kind of meat in there. Basically, you know, you've got the mince meat, and any type of additional meat will be fine. Anyway, just leave that on there, and that'll let that simmer for the next 12 minutes or so while the pasta's cooking. Now the sauce is not doing too bad, but it's bubbling away, so it's going to start getting a bit thicker eventually, because as you can see, all that steam coming off it, as you know, is water vapour, which is coming out of the food. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some water out of the pasta, mainly because it's got pasta nutrients in there and it's hot, so it won't bring down the temperature of the sauce. Give it a mix, get all those little bits of tomato sauce out there. May as well use it, it's going to go down the sink anyway. Pour that in there, just to add some water. Just add some water to the mix there. Makes it a little bit thinner, doesn't make it so thick. You know, if you make pasta sauce that's too thick, it's just, you know, it doesn't really cover all the pasta very well. Okay, so we put that in there. It's gone. It seems a little bit too thin right now, but that's fine. You just keep on cooking it as you were, and that'll soon, you know, the water will soon evaporate from there. There we go. So just leave this on the simmer again. Now I've just tested the pasta. The pasta is well cooked. The way to tell that is, you take a bit of pasta and you cut it in half with a spoon against the side of the pot like that. And if it cuts easily, you know it's done. If there's a little bit of give, you know it needs more time. But also, I say this every time I do pasta, just take a piece and try it. If it's soft, then it's done. If it's chewy, then it's not done. You need to put it in for another few more minutes. But this is perfectly done now. The sauce here is pretty much, there's still a lot of, well, not a lot, it's not thick at all, this sauce, which is perfect. When I put the pasta in, I'm going to go in there and mix it all around. You don't want it to be too thick, otherwise it's difficult to cover all the pasta. Okay, turn the water off, the heat on the water. Right, and now I'm going to drain the pasta. There we are, pasta's drained. Now it's just a case of putting it in the sauce. Basically just, you could actually leave the pasta in the pan, let it boil, you know, drain it, put it back in the pan, and then put the sauce in the pan. You could, or what I'm doing, put the pasta the other way around. Put the pasta in the sauce instead of the sauce on the pasta. Either way is good. Depending, I mean, if you're making any more than this, you'd probably want to do the sauce in the pan. I know from experience that this is a good amount, so I can actually do it this way, and you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just depending on how much pasta and how much sauce you're cooking, because any more pasta won't fit in this pan here. Okay, that is give that a good turning over. Make sure everything's covered. Turn everything off. Now, just going to plate it up. There we have it. I've put it into 2 bowls here. One for now, one for later on today, or maybe even tomorrow for breakfast. It's all good. So you make you make 2 meals. You could make this go even further if you were to throw in some peas and or sweet corn to this into the mix, for that, just to bulk it up some. Right. Now I'm going to give it a taste test. I'll tell you what, I do make some good pasta. I really do. All the combinations of meats and whatnot, I've never not liked a pasta dish. But this meat is actually, so let me get this. Yeah, this sausage meat is actually quite good. It's different than regular sausages because it's some kind of pork, I don't know, salami kind of sausage. But very nice. Oh. It's hot. But I used this because the shop had run out of pepperoni. So next time they stock it, I'll try and pick up some of that, put that in there, give it a bit of you know, be a bit, you know, put a bit of spiciness into the pasta. There you go. So it doesn't really matter what meat you put in there. I've got the usual minced beef and sausage, but you know, pork chop in there. But any, you know, if you want to see some other pasta dishes, type in Mark's Remarks pasta in the search bar, and it'll bring up all the other options, all the other dishes that I made involving pasta. Oh, this is really good. There you go. I'm going to put the usual up here. A couple of links to some other videos. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the bell icon. You'll be alerted to every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching.